and talk about some BI software.
Just
I love the hand there. That's wonderful.
I'm very happy that they uploaded that one to the website. You'd be surprised how many times that pops up. All right, thank you everyone. I'm actually going to buck the trend and actually not use PowerPoint. I think we've done enough of it today. But I am going to talk more about business intelligence, which we have done a fair bit today. So, start with that. So, I think from the last couple of presentations, there's a mix of people using either the built-in BI tools in EXO or using the Excel side. What I'm going to take you through here, our product, Phocas, spelled wrong. It's the only place I've ever had to explain this. Never had that problem before. Usually it's the people going, why is this spelled with a PH? It's just because. So what our tool is, it's kind of, I feel like what we've been discussing is a bit of an evolution in terms of business intelligence, tools that are built in, external tools that you've got readily available. What our tool is obviously another bolt-on system that allows you to really put a lot of data, ask lots and lots of questions of your business in a very fast, easy to use manner, regardless of the system or systems that you are using in your business. So what we're doing for a lot of these customers as well is we're not just using EXO or SAP or Navision or anything like that. A lot of customers, like what Gilbert was talking about, there's other data sources. Maybe it's data from your suppliers. Maybe if you're selling into retail and that data is actually made available, the sell-through data, you can bring that data back in as well. So there's a lot of data flowing around. Our tool is really designed to crunch all that data together. We don't care where the data comes from. If you need to use it to run your business, you should be using it in a BI product. Just a bit of shouting from the rooftops. These are some of our Australian customers, Australia and New Zealand customers, I should say. So, get corporate consumers from down in Wellington and stuff like that in here. And this is broken by industry. Let's see if I have the same clicking fun. So you can see we've got customers in all walks of life. We don't really care what you have, what you do, what you sell. This product is really designed for wholesale distribution, manufacturing and retail customers. That's really what it's designed for. If you've got products or services that you sell, this product is something that, that should be of interest to you. A little bit of background on us. This is actually a proper Australian success story, even though that probably doesn't hold a lot of weight here. It works really well back in Britain saying that. But it is actually developed in country New South Wales. Those who know Australia, Orange in New South Wales is a little town in the middle of absolutely nowhere. That's actually where the product is developed. So it's an Australian developed product. It's also a privately owned business. In Australia and New Zealand we have around 400 companies that use Phocas. Globally we have about 1,300. We have offices in the UK and the US as well. In Australia and New Zealand we probably work with about 40 different ERP systems, EXO probably being in the, say, top 3, top 4 ERP systems that we come across. As you've seen, as you've heard, there's a lot of data that's being captured and different ways of using it. EXO does make it easier than some, thankfully, to actually use some of that data that's available. All right, enough about us. Let's talk about Phocas. Spelled wrong. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to take you through a sales kind of database. We've spoken about sales a lot, so I thought why change things. And the reason we usually start with sales is we all want to make money. That's what we're here to do. We're not here in the business of losing money. So sales are a really good place to, or a sales solution like this gives you a really good return on investment in a product like Phocas. It really does help you understand what you're not selling, who stopped buying, where the margin slips are, and any other possible combination you can come up with. If we have time, see there are other default out-of-the-box databases that we have for EXO, but just keep in mind you can build anything you want in here. The difference, as you'll see in a moment, between what I'm about to show you and what's been discussed so far is this is really meant to be intuitive, following your train of thought. This is really aimed at end users, not can be used by analysts and things like that, but the tool really is designed for the end user who is the person who needs to use the data. Maybe they're the salesperson, maybe they're the C-suiter, the CEO, the MD, who they're not an analyst, but they want to know what's going on in their business, and they might have a few different questions along the way. Do they need to come and ask someone to build them a report? Do they need to learn how to use another product or know which fields in EXO they're supposed to use? Probably not. They're going to just come banging on somebody else's door to do that for them. So our approach is give the end user the ability to analyse the data and ask the questions they want, but don't let them break anything. This is all read-only. This does not write back to EXO in any way, shape or form. So users can jump in here, give this thing the hardest time of its life, and nobody's none the wiser. As you'll see at the top, it is a web-based product, so we generally will host Phocas for you. What I'm showing you here, you can do on an iPad, a tablet. If you've got good eyesight, you can do it on a phone. So, and it really is, there's no apps to download, there's nothing to install, it is completely web-based. So you can use this wherever you happen to be. Where if you're the MD and you're on holiday in Fiji, you can still be keeping your eye on the pulse. All right, so when we first log into sales, we've got this view here. So this is a sales summary. And what it is, it's basically a 10,000-foot view of the business. We can see what our sales are broken down by month, how that compares to the previous period, and like everybody else, there is a variance behind there as well. See how high I can get that. So it gives us an idea of how things are going. There's no selections, no anything made. The amount of data that we have on screen, we can change at any point during the analysis. This is not like a standard report where you have to kind of select everything and click go get a cup of coffee, come back. The idea is you can basically select any time period you want. You can have as many predefined periods as well as being able to select any custom period you might dream up. So, and summarised any way that you want. So if you work in retail, you might have retail weeks. If you're reporting back to the US or something like that, you use a standard 554 fiscal month. You can have anything that you want in there. I'll say 12 months for now. We then have this list of dimensions. Once again, this is customised to the way you look at your business. You do not have to use the standard set here. This is just what I've got for my demo database. This would reflect the fields that people are used to seeing in EXO, so you make it familiar so people it's not foreign to them. And really the whole idea is if they want to see their sales by product class, they just click on it and now we can see our sales by our different product classes. If we want to see it by our different types of customers, we simply click on customer type. If we want to see our sales by sales rep, we simply click on sales rep. So it's very quick, easy. As you see, I'm running this live off the web. And we can see now what our 50, it's probably hard to see because of the left turn, but it does tell you how many records it's returned down the bottom here. And we can see what, the totals up the top haven't changed. All we're doing is just grouping the data differently. We're just summarising it different ways. But if I wanted to know a bit more about Rick, who happens to be our MD, but he's our top salesman in this database, surprise, surprise. We can come in and break that down a little bit further. In this case, I'm interested in knowing which territories he's actually working in and where he's actually making his money. So we can see there's the $4.7 million of sales he's done for the last 12 months and what his actual breakdown is, where he's making his money. Now, everyone can always do better, so where can Rick do better? So we can introduce a variance, basically bring in that summary screen that we had earlier, this year versus last year view, but we've brought it down into the data. So we can see overall things aren't so crash hot. He was doing better last year, and most of that's actually tied into this one territory in New South Wales. So we can see that he's down close to $260,000 in that one territory alone. Naturally, that leads to another question. What's he struggling with? So there's no right or wrong way of using this. There's no set pass. There's no set reports that you have to go down. You can really just follow a train of thought that you might have. Like all products, these are all sortable columns. So now we can actually see that $259,000 variance. Where's it actually coming from? So we can see probably our biggest concern is in LED lights. Now we could break this down into an individual SKU level, but maybe in my case I'm actually interested in who's the customer, which customers are buying a lot less of this particular type of product from this particular rep in this particular territory. So in a matter of clicks, we're now down to the 13 customers. We can see there's that nearly $80,000 variance. We can see which customers have stopped buying altogether, so that's a problem. We've got a little bit of new business going on. It's not outweighing what's happening above though. So we can see this customer probably here is my biggest concern. They're still buying, just buying a lot less. Now either they're slowing or they're finding another supplier. So what do I want to do from here? Maybe I want to export the data. Maybe I still enjoy Excel. I still like to use the data. In Excel, you can export at any point during your analysis. There is no get to a certain point. You can export whenever you want. You can also save and share these. Now, it's important to note when you are saving these, there is a very, very strong security model that exists inside Phocas. Every piece of functionality, every piece of data can be controlled at an individual user level. So if I wanted to save this with all of my New South Wales reps, for example, I could save this as one report, farm it out to all of them, and when they log in, they only see their customers in that particular territory. I don't have to do 5 reports if I've got 5 reps. I do 1 report. I let the system control what they actually are allowed to see, and that extends from the analysis to the reports to the dashboards. It's across the board. There's no ifs, buts or maybes. You don't want them to see profit, you don't want them to see cost, margins, they just won't be there. You've got absolute infinite control over what the end user sees, but it also means that you don't have to worry about, did I show them something they're not supposed to see, or managing 5 different reports because you've got 5 reps out on the road and then all of a sudden you want to make a change, you've got to make it 5 times. This is one version of the truth. Everyone logs in and sees exactly what you want them to see. But this is a web-based product. If our sales staff are paying attention, they're hopefully going to go and see this particular customer. Now we should all do all the required pre-work before we go and see a customer, print out reports, do all the analysis, but salespeople don't always do what they're told. So for the unprepared, we can actually have what we call a scorecard. You can build these to do whatever you want. Mind you, this is just one of our out of the box. Everyone always leaves a comment on it, which is annoying. One day I'll stop them doing that. So this is a summary of this particular customer and how they might compare to the average. So we can see what their variances are. We can see what their invoice sales looks like. I'll get back in here. No, lost me the drag. So we see their variances. We can see what their product mix looks like and maybe how that compares to the average. Are they really heavily, if you sell a wide range of products, are they only buying one of your product types? And if they find another supplier for that, you're going to lose the customer. So are you diversified enough with that particular customer? What are the variances compared to the average? Basically anything that you need to know. What are their top products? What are their bottom products? Basically anything and everything that you would want a salesperson or yourself to have a review with that customer. You can pop onto a dashboard and you can be actually sharing this with the customer while you're sitting with them. There's nothing to, it's all web-based. You can have it on your tablet, turn the tablet around and go, well, this is you this year versus last year. These are the variances. This is what you've stopped buying from me. What's going on here? Anything you wanted to discuss, you can put on there. So you're very prepared. And when they ask, well, what's outside the top 10? Or any particular question, you can always jump back into the data. Because as a customer, they always try to throw something at you that you might not be prepared for. So now we can actually see there's the $94,000 variance with this customer for the last 12 months. It's been 3 months since our last time we caught up with them. So we'll switch to 3 months. Don't have to open a different report or do anything like that. That's all the good stories. let's talk about the not so greats. So very quickly and easily we can see which products they've stopped buying in the last 3 months, and we can start talking about it. So you don't need to know which report actually is the one you need to run to actually answer that question. You just got to ask the question. Have I lost anybody yet? No glazing over of eyes? Good. I know it's a lot to take in, a lot of BI being spoken about. So, and that's a real basic stuff for us. It's the basic bread and butter of the types of questions that business is generally going to be asking of yourself. But something that we like doing is also saying, well, what's not happening and maybe what should be happening? You know, it's a competitive world. What are the opportunities? So Phocas makes it quite easy to actually look at not what is happening like we just did, but what's not happening and maybe what should be happening. So I'm going to I'll pick on IT today. There are a lot of IT people around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all of my IT customers. You can't see, but it's just over 200 and nearly 240 customers that I've classed as IT customers. So this is just reading the data that you have in EXO. Okay, there's no extra work that you need to do. Most of the time you're capturing most of this data already on your customer cards, on your product cards, on your invoices. So it's all the reward for all the effort you're currently putting in. So to make it onto this list, they had to have bought something from me in the last 12 months. The 12 months is the time period I'm looking at, had to have bought at least something. But my question is, for this particular industry, what are they buying? Because for this particular industry, I might sell a particular core range product that I expect every one of the IT customers to buy from me. I know what they buy. I want to make sure they're all buying the same thing because we know it's relevant to their industry. So if I'm just making random selections here. These could be core range products. These could be high margin products, high volume products, whatever the case may be. These are just my random selections. So my question is, of the 238 customers that have actually bought something from me or are buying something from me, how many are actually buying the core range products I expect them to buy? Because we know there's an opportunity to sell to those that are buying it. They're already buying something with us. They're trading with us. Are they buying what we want them to buy? So it turns out just over 100 of the original active customer list of 230 are actually buying what we want them to buy, or buying what I want them to buy from me. So who fell out? More importantly, what are the details? So anything that you have in EXO, primary contacts, I have to admit, it is a very sticky little touchpad thing. I'm going to stand up for the others that have struggled. So there we go, only select the suburb after all that. There we go. I'll just put full address in as well, just for giggles. So now I actually have a list of active customers not buying my core range products. So if I'm in the interest of selling more product, I could maybe save this, share it with some people, I could export it to Excel and actually give it to some marketing people or do a campaign around targeting. We know these customers should be buying these products, why aren't they buying it? So it's not just about telling you what is happening, it's about telling you what's not. And that's a more elaborate way of doing it. You might launch a new product and go, well, who's not buying it? Or which branches aren't selling it yet? Or maybe you're interested in which sales staff or which accounts assigned to a particular staff member haven't bought something in the last 6 months. Doesn't matter what the question is, you can flip the question over and say, well, what's not happening, not just what is happening. And doing these types of reports in other systems, luckily for us, not so easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not just a click of a button. So, and I'm just going to pinch on Alex here, when he was talking about the pivot stuff. Wholeheartedly agree, it is one of the most important things I think people should be doing, because it's really where you can unearth opportunities in your business. So And when I say that is in a lot of cases, in a lot of businesses, like in retail as well, there's the complementary sale. Sell you the sofa, I want to sell you the warranty. I sell you this table, I want to sell you the chair. If I sell you a sink, I want you to buy the tap. You know, in my case, LEDs and transformers should be sold together. They buy the LED, they should be buying the transformer that goes along with it. So once again, is that actually happening in my business? So you can, I'm just going to select 2. You can select as many as you want. We got this matrix button. Don't want Keanu Reeves does not show up. I know. So I don't know why it's called that, but basically all it's doing is creating a pivot. So very quick, one-click button to create a pivot. But from here, if we want to look at our list of customers, we can see how much our customers have spent in LEDs and transformers. So now LEDs and transformers, they have very different values. So doing a value comparison doesn't quite work. But they do have a relationship in terms of units. Now we could be comparing profit, margin, but in this case I'm just going to use units because they do have a one-to-one relationship in terms of units. And once again, simply by using the sort order, always sort its highest to lowest first. So I was trying to make everything sound positive. So if I just scroll down a little bit, I now have a list of customers who bought transformers from me but didn't buy the LEDs. Now the LEDs don't work without the transformer, and the transformer doesn't do much without the LEDs. And I've got someone here who might be a bit upset, bought 25 transformers and not a single LED from me. Well, it's not a replacement. You know, where are they going? What are they doing? Why is that actually happening? And why is it happening on my watch? So being able to just know and ask that question without having to ask for a report to be written, to do anything like that, you have that hunch, ask the question. It's very simple. You can still roll this up because sales staff always are where the buck stops with a lot of this. So maybe we feel like we're the MD, we feel like yelling at somebody, and we want to know who we need to yell at. So we might want to concentrate our yelling efforts at sales staff that sell a lot at the wrong mix. So we're expecting a 50-50 mix, a 1-to-1. So what's Elizabeth up to? Raul, we've got a Doris apparently, and a Chad, and a Walt. We employ, if you've got a cool name, you can work for us. So now we can actually concentrate our efforts and say, well, these are the guys that I think I need to talk to because they're just not selling at the right mix. And before I go yelling at them, maybe I just want to see what's happened in the last 3 months. So for poor Elizabeth here, things got considerably worse. But for some of the other guys, things got a little bit better. So it's really quick and easy to just ask lots of different questions of your data. And if you're not so much of a grid style analysis and you just you're more of a visual person, you can dashboard everything that we've gone through. You can create as a dashboard. We do use that same widget logic, so the naming is universal. And you can really put anything you want on here. Now, where this might differ from some of the other things that have been spoken about today is nothing has to necessarily be predefined. If you want to add a widget, you simply can write the query like what I've been showing you and save it as a widget. So if it hasn't been pre-thought of, it's something new, something that it's a crazy idea that somebody's had, you can try it, build it, put it on a dashboard, everyone will see it. That security I mentioned earlier does flow through to this. So if you're sharing a big dashboard like my dashboard here and you're giving it out to branch managers, when they log in, they'll see their branch. You can still show them the overall company performance. They won't be able to see what's behind that, but it just means you've got one version of the truth. You're not managing a ton of different reports. And just to show what you can do, this is just my interpretation, we can do things like number of declining customers. Once again, when the rep logs in or a branch logs in, how many customers are actually falling away? That's important to know. Bit of good news story, increasing customers, new customers. There's that LED and transformer example that I did earlier. Because if that's a common problem that we have in our business, why wouldn't we put it on a dashboard? this one's saved by our customer type, so we can say, well, whoever's looking after the health industry is struggling with transformers. Where do we make our margin from? How are we going? How are reps going against budgets? Now, these budgets might not necessarily be in EXO. We don't care where they come from. 90% of our customers, or probably more, have their budget sitting in an Excel spreadsheet, and they want to compare their sales to budget, so they're exporting the data and trying to fit it into the spreadsheet against the budgets. We take the approach of just load the budgets into Phocas. The format of the data does not have to be the same. We'll take whatever format the data you have, and that's where some of that third-party data, like you were mentioning, supplier data, comes in. If you've got 10, 15, 20 different suppliers, the formats are all going to be different. For us, that doesn't matter. You can handle any format of data that gets thrown at you. And we're going to the clock.
Couple of minutes.
Yay. Get to listen to me for longer. You can do heat mapping if you so want to. So if you're trying to see how a particular product's being received, or like what I've done here, you can always pick where a sales rep lives because that's right in the centre of the hotspot. Creatures of habit, they don't venture very far. You can do, I've just added a few things on here where we can also do maybe our stock holdings. It was mentioned a little bit. It doesn't have to just be sales data, so if you're trying to see where you're holding stock versus how you're selling your stock. Are your sales and your stock by location actually in sync with each other? Are you selling a lot of product out of warehouse 2 and holding 90% of your product in warehouse 1? Are you distributing your stock properly in there? You can also do any kind of custom calculation. It doesn't have to be predefined. So I've done something here like with stock cover, where I'm actually saying, well, show me the number of weeks cover I have based on the last 12 months of sales. Now, you might not use 12 months. You might work on a much shorter time period. It's completely up to you. But as you can see here, this is demo data, so no one gets shot for having 29,000 weeks of stock on hand. But basically saying we've sold 2 in the last 12 months and we're holding nearly just over 1,100 items. Why is that happening? But you can also use this on the flip side. What am I low stock on? And actually letting reps know, like what Gilbert was talking about, don't sell something you don't have, because you're just going to create a back order, you're just going to create angry people. So informing the end users of the data, the people that are actually on the cold face, is very, very important to do. So with the few minutes we've got left, I'll invite any questions. I've been waffling for a while.
With them, those reports you're doing, so you're saying you can set the security by report. So one you could send out and everyone would see, say, everything, whereas another one you could see and they'll see.
Now it's actually done at a user level. So who the user is that logs into the system, that security is applied to them.
So if you ran a report, these are the customers I want followed up, they would see all their customers
Correct.
follow up.
Correct.
Can you make a report that's not user?
Yes, you can. You can do it whichever way you want. You don't have to use the security. It is optional. You don't have to lock everyone down to the nth degree if you don't want to. And like what Gil was talking about with mailing of data, this does give you the ability, anything that you save, you can also have it email you on a schedule. So if you, on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you want to get a list of products that are on back order or something, it'll just send that off to you in whatever format that you want. And it does use that security restriction. So if you encourage all your sales staff to know which customers are in decline, and you have it sent off, it'll actually just tell them these are your customers that are in decline. So if you've got 100 customers in decline, might be a bit overwhelming, but one rep might have 5. So not trying to find out of the list of 100 which are the ones he's responsible for. You can actually take that effort out of his day, or her day, I should say.
Is the data uploaded, or is it interrogating live?
It is uploaded. We can upload as often as you like. The reason we don't connect live is purely performance. As you can see, most of our customers have many millions, sometimes 10+ million transactions that they've got. You can load as much history as you want. we do it externally purely because you can give this the hardest time of its life, and EXO has zero effect. There's no performance lag. How often you update is up to you. It is automated, so it's a completely hands-off process.
It's just scheduled.
Yeah, it's just scheduled, and we usually find the happy medium of making sure you're getting the data you need when you need it without actually adding any load to you, unnecessary load to EXO to actually serve that data.
Can you split the data, like maybe sales data being hourly and stock information overnight?
Correct. Most people actually do it the other way around, though.
Yeah.
They want to know what I've got on hand now.
Yeah.
Sales are one of those things that sometimes through the day, orders being processed, it can look a bit all over the place. End of day, it's all clean. End of day processing's taking place. Looks a bit tidier. But yeah, you can pick what gets updated and when. And you don't have to do everything in one database. You might have seen on my dashboard we had a couple of the other out-of-the-box solutions, which we probably won't have time to talk about, but things like purchasing and stock, accounts receivable. And you can actually, the tools to actually build these are also available to you. So if you are tech savvy and you know your data quite well, you can actually build any of these solutions, change the solutions that are there. You don't have to come to us to do it. We do the training on that and let you guys at it, because you guys know your business better than we can. We'd much rather show you how our tools work so you can adapt it to your businesses as best as possible. Any other questions?
Yeah, just following on from that, are there a lot of inbuilt sort of functions and calculations available in the browser that you can...
what we have built in, the functional, what you're seeing across the top is generally the only part that's actually fixed. What data you put into it is it's your data. So what's populating behind these, so you can have as many different calculations as you want. And these are done in the actual build process. So if it's a common question that's going to be regularly asked, and it is a complex calc, but it is something that you want the entire business to see, you just build it and it's a tick box. If it's something that you're coming up with right now and you're thinking about it on the fly and you just want to build something, we have what we call a custom mode where you can build any view that you want with any calculations you want. If you're a SQL whiz, you can also call SQL functions in that. So if you're trying to pass in parameters to do scoring, all of that can be done. But that's just more of the advanced side of the product. We haven't actually touched on any of the hardcore stuff that's in it.
You can then say whatever you build in their customer.
Yep, they're all savable, shareable, all that kind of stuff. So we try to. It's always about being fast and easy. So we try and give people not too many options, so it's intimidating, especially if you're a salesperson or a lot of products. If you're a tech guy, they're awesome because there's so many options available to you. If you're not a tech guy, they're intimidating. So we've tried to strike the balance as best as possible without excluding people that like to really get their hands dirty.
Any more questions?
How much?
The big question. So the product is offered on a subscription basis. So basically, there's a cost, a monthly cost for the solution and the number of users, and I can take you through the costing later on, just depending on how many users and everything you want. There's volume discounting based on the number of users. We've done it that way since day dot, and some of those customers I was showing on the list have been with us since we started here in Australia about 11 years ago. So those customers are still with us today. They still pay for the product monthly, and the only reason they do is it makes them money. They're quite happy. If you know any of our customers, by all means talk to them. You generally find they're very happy. It keeps us on our toes, so there's no huge lump sum investment or anything in the product. You basically pay for it monthly. If you're not using it, you're free to cancel it. There is, if you have a number of users and you're farming it out to those users, there is the big brother option of usage data. You can see what they're doing, how often they're doing it if you so want to, so you can make sure that people are getting value out of your investment.
Is it quite an investment in the actual initial setup of the...
Not really, no. Our model is to have customers long term, so we try to make it as cost effective as possible to start using Phocas. We don't ask for big lock-in contracts or anything like that. We're pretty confident that when you start using it and you get those initial return on investments, an example is 9 times out of 10 when we do this during the training session where we're training the users, we normally find lost sales or declines that actually pay for the next 12 months of the subscription, usually in the training session. So the return on investment is realised very, very quickly with Phocas, and our belief is that it will continually do that. So we're more interested in having you as a customer long term instead of trying to collect a whole big sum of money up front and then just letting you go. We're a much more hands-on type of approach, keeps us honest.
How long is an average training time for users?
So the training we normally split into 2. So we do an initial 2-hour session that kind of covers the basics, gets you using it. Because it's read-only and you can't break anything, we find users generally start flicking around and playing around pretty quickly. We then follow that up with a more advanced session because there's a lot of advanced parts of the product that we haven't gone into yet. And then we offer quite regular online training. We do user groups as well, and we also have a very large online library of basically every function, everything you could ever think of. We've kind of put a video together for, and we also have our support desk, which is local in Australia, and there's well, there is that 2-hour gap, but you're not talking to another country. Well, you are talking. I really should have planned this. I should have planned.
Something we don't.
Yeah. So yes, but we don't charge extra for support. It's all part of the subscription, as is the upgrades, any minor tweaks that you want that you don't want to do yourself. Most of the time, we'll just do it on support. The only time where there might be a service charge is if you come in and said, I'd like to make and it's 15 hours of work or something like that. We might pull you up at that point, but really, once again, it's just about having a good working relationship with our customer. So if you've got questions, just ask.
So Craig's with us all afternoon. I think we've got one appointment. But if you'd like more time today, set this thing out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.